Any writer who tells you that they don't have a big fat motley crew of stories that they started and then gave up on is lying to you. It's a big plague that wreaks havoc on the writing habits of primarily beginning writers, although it can do a lot of damage even to more experienced writers, and can really damage your skill development as a writer because it gets you used to only practicing the beginning portions of a story and not fighting through the middle and end, which are significantly harder to pull off, but a lot more critical. And this can then create a self-fulfilling prophecy where you're much better at writing beginnings, and you feel a lot more confident in the beginning because of that, but because you just don't have any practice writing middles or endings, once you reach the middle, you gas out, you don't know what to do, you feel lost, you get scared, and you give up. Granted, a big portion of why this happens is a simple lack of creative direction. People don't know what to do. Maybe they didn't outline very much before they began. This is a big reason why I recommend outlining and not pantsing unless you really know what you're doing when it comes to pantsing. But another big issue that causes this, which often disguises itself to a certain extent as a lack of creative direction, is a simple lack of confidence in the idea. In the moment when you come up with an idea for a story, it's all bright and new and exciting, and you love your premise and the character and the conflict that you're trying to create, etc. But as it gets older and it's less, wow, new, fresh idea, then you begin thinking, well, is this really that interesting? Is anybody actually going to want to read about that? Blah, blah, blah. This question has different answers depending on what you're planning to do with your book. If you're writing your book as a practice story, and yes, that goes for novels, you need practice novels. Your first novel will not be publishable. Your second novel will not be publishable. Your third novel will still almost certainly not be publishable. Your fourth novel might be publishable. Your fifth novel will probably be publishable, but it still might not be. If it is a practice story, it does not matter, period. It could be the crappiest story on earth, and writing it gives you just as much value in terms of improving yourself as a writer as writing with the best idea on earth. Especially if it's one of your earlier stories, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your idea is, your story will suck because you don't have the experience yet to write a good story. To write a good story, you need lots and lots of experience. And the only way you're going to get that experience is by writing and by finishing, by going all the way to the end of the project. And at that point, it doesn't matter how good the finished product is. It just matters that you finish it. My first novel was complete ass. I finished my second novel several months ago, and that was but a lot better because I simply finished my first novel and I gained the confidence of knowing that I can finish a project despite all of the dead projects wasting away in my Google Docs somewhere. Learning to accept that the finished product will probably be bad and that doesn't matter, and learning to just let that all go and stop thinking about it and just write has allowed me to improve drastically more than I would be able to do if I was constantly worrying about whether or not this novel that I'm never going to publish anyways is going to impress other people, or if it really gets a deep consideration of the meaning of life and the fundamental fabric of the universe. If you are planning to go somewhere professionally with your novel, then you have several more questions. First of all, what is the main conflict that this idea sets up? Conflict is not only the main driver of audience interest in a story, but it also simply makes it a lot easier to come up with scenes and avoid a lack of creative direction. If you have a strong conflict between your protagonist and antagonist, or your protagonist and themselves, or your protagonist and another person who's not quite an antagonist, but whatever, your conflict can be a lot of different things, whatever it is, as long as there's a strong conflict, the interplay between the two or more forces will naturally generate scenes in itself. Number 2, what is the main question that the plot asks? This helps you pitch the story to a reader in the blurb on the back, in the title, in the cover. All of the promises that you're making to a reader at the beginning of a book and before they even open the book are building up toward asking some question. Who killed this guy? How are they going to save the universe? Whatever it is. 3, how are you going to make the reader care about the answer to that question? And 4, what is the target audience for this book? Yes, you need a target audience. The entire world is not going to read your book You need to target some subset of the reading population, or else nobody will read it. As long as you can answer those 4 questions and answer them clearly and specifically, it almost doesn't matter what your idea is. The premise in itself rarely decides whether or not a novel is successful. How you write the novel is 10 times as important as what you're writing the novel about. The better of a writer you become, the more you'll be able to do with any idea, and the less it will matter the premise you start with, because you'll be able to make a good story with any idea, so long as that idea can create conflict and ask questions and target a particular audience. And the only way you can become good enough as an author to do that is finishing projects.